This is the Valley Today.
Hi everyone, happy Friday. Good morning. Thank you so much for waking up and joining us here on the Valley Today. My name is Ashlyn Hill.
And I am Jordan Schreier. Waking up, looking at the sky cam behind us. Some beautiful color there. We love to see it. And I personally am loving these cooler temperatures that we have for today. Let's get a check of your Friday forecast with meteorologist Lisa Green. Good morning, Lisa.
Good morning. Yeah, it's a good start to our Friday with that sun coming up right now as we speak here in Fargo. Nice pretty view. And anybody hitting the road this morning going to have some easy conditions for now as we're starting off with some dry weather. Now we are going to see some increasing clouds and eventually a chance for some rain as the day goes on. So you're going to want to be prepared. Even though it looks nice and bright and sunny right now, we have some chances for rain showers, especially during midday today. But even for some of us for the morning drive, we could see that. So you may want to grab that umbrella. But otherwise, giving it a 1 out of 5 for travel here today. That's on the good side of the scale. And looking at quiet conditions and temperatures that are more comfortable to be outside here this morning. Not nearly as hot and muggy for most of us. Here's a look at what's going on. We've got the rain, some clouds associated with it too. The clouds already making their way toward the Cheyenne River Basin. Those will continue rolling east, and then the rain will follow that as well. You can see it stretching from just west of the Devil's Lake area down to just west of the James River Valley area. So this is going to push in the next hour or so, I would say, getting closer to Jamestown at that point, and then marching east from there. So some rain taking over for a time today. We'll see that be welcome in the sense that it's rain, it's moisture, we need it, but we're not looking at the chance for severe weather here for today. That's the good news. 58 degrees in Fargo. Grand Forks is at 58. We're looking at quiet conditions as far as the wind is concerned. Just a beautiful sunrise here to kick off the day. And one thing to note, this is our forecast for Fargo. We're looking at temperatures about 10 degrees cooler than yesterday. And even then, we'll start warming up until the rain moves in. And once that hits, that tends to cool you down. So we'll see our temperatures stop their rise as we head into midday, and into the afternoon we'll even cool down a little bit. So a big change today from recent heat. We'll talk more about the rain. We'll track that out for you coming up in just a couple of minutes. And of course, take a look at that all-important weekend forecast.
Okay, yeah. Lisa, thank you.
New this morning, a watery mess in Moorhead near Bennett Park. Not from the rain, though. Firefighters and the street department were called out to a water main break at 2nd Avenue and 17th Street. This was all just before 1 a.m.
Now, one person said it was bubbling up from the sewer. At one point, it was 2 feet deep. A street department worker spent much of the morning making a quick repair. Investigators are looking into a fire in South Moorhead at an apartment building. It happened last night at the Scaff Apartments on 27th Avenue South.
Fire officials say damage was contained to one unit, though, and no one was hurt. Fargo police asking for help finding a missing teen. 13-year-old Takora Mork, you see her there on your screen, hasn't been home since early last Saturday morning.
She was last seen in North Fargo around 3 a.m. Now contact Fargo PD. You can even send an anonymous text. Use the keyword Fargo PD to 847-411. There is new information now emerging on that July 14th ambush shooting in Fargo that killed one officer, wounded 2 others, plus a bystander.
That shooter, Mohammed Barakat, was actually known to the FBI. They interviewed him 2 years ago at his Fargo apartment. Valley News Team's Alex Larson breaks down this new information.
PCI and the FBI are working on this investigation, and that's information that they would have. There's also information you might obtain public record-wise. I'm not privy to his previous record at this time.
That's been the answer to any question about Mohammed Barakat and his interactions with police or the FBI. New information reveals Barakat was questioned about his guns 2 years ago in July 2021.
There was this Guardian report some years back made by a member, someone who was familiar with him or knew him.
We've now learned the report to the FBI was an anonymous tip about Mohammed Barakat, in which the tipster expressed concern about Barakat's mental state, saying he had access to a significant number of firearms and had used threatening language. The FBI forwarded the information to the Fargo Police Department. The statement says detectives made 3 visits to Barakat's apartment over the next 2 weeks.
I'm not going to say much about it except to say it is not, we are told, about a threat of violence or an act of this nature or anything along these lines.
In an interview, Bearcat denied any ill intentions. The statement says, as there was no evidence of any ongoing illegal activities or indications of an imminent threat, it was determined that no further action could be taken. This revelation, as many continue to be on edge, wondering if there is another threat to the community.
I have full faith that the FBI, working in conjunction with the ATF and our partners at BCI at the state level, are going to conduct a completely thorough investigation. That investigation is going on right now. It's being conducted aggressively and intensely, and we trust them to follow all appropriate leads.
In Fargo, Alex Larson, Valley News Live.
You at home can read more about this on your VNL News app.
Meanwhile, the Fargo community is continuing their support for the officers involved in that ambush in more ways than one. A lot of businesses and community members now are piling on to help. Sweet Shots offered a portion of their proceeds yesterday to the Leadership Care Fund.
The sacrifice that he made and the sacrifice that the other officers made, possibly prevented tragedy that we can't even imagine. So, there's no way to put it into words, but if you try, it's just thank you.
And United States Axe hosted a throwing tournament yesterday to benefit 25-year-old Carly Koswick. Now, she's the bystander who was shot on July 14th and had just started working at United Axe.
Koswick's recovery is expected to take about a year. All of the funds from yesterday's event will go to Koswick and the officers who were involved. One man in jail in connection to an assault outside of a downtown Fargo bar. 33-year-old Jeremy Dalton now facing charges of aggravated assault after the release of a picture of a victim and a bystander earlier this week. Many people say they have seen video of the suspect punching a man in the face outside of the old Broadway. It was last Sunday around 2 a.m. Fargo police are still at this time trying to track down the victim.
A Fargo woman is accused of slapping her infant several times and recording it. Macy Belcourt is charged with child abuse and drug-related charges. Police started investigating after a man reported that Belcourt had sent him videos showing her slapping the child. Now, he claimed that she did it because she was mad at him for going on a boat with another woman the previous day. Court records say Belcourt admitted to hitting the child in, quote, a fit of rage. Police also found marijuana and paraphernalia in the apartment, as well as used diapers lined in the bedroom where that baby slept. A Grand Forks woman accused of attempted murder is now undergoing a psych evaluation at the state hospital. 21-year-old Rose Rick allegedly stabbed a man in the back and then slashed a woman's wrist in December of 2022. Police say Rick also had some self-inflicted cuts. A Rochester, Minnesota man was arrested in Grand Forks on suspicion of luring a minor.
Authorities say 27-year-old Daniel Henke initiated a text message conversation with a sheriff's deputy, thinking he was talking instead to a 15-year-old girl. They say Henke traveled from Des Moines, Iowa, all the way to Grand Forks to meet this girl. He was then arrested at a restaurant in Amaretto. Construction crews have now reached the final phase of the 32nd Avenue reconstruction project happening in South Fargo. That now means that the intersection of 28th Street and 32nd Avenue will be closed for about 3 weeks.
Essentia Health will remain open at all times and accessible. Patients can get there from 32nd Street when traveling from the west and the south, as well as from 28th from the south. Now, you can get a closer look at this detour map by finding this story on your VNL News app. Also, Fargo Streets on Facebook and Twitter posts updates as well. The world's looking a bit different these days for a North Dakota educator who had quite the summer vacation to talk about. Still to come right here, back from a near-death experience in the back of an ambulance.
We'll bring you that story that doctors are calling a medical miracle. But first, Lisa Green has our forecast to plan out our day. We're just 2 minutes away now.